Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 12 review, An Unnecessary Death, distracts from what's important. Although Episode 11 signaled that Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 was turning around after a couple of poor hours, Episode 12, Counting Coup, unfortunately brings the series back down to the ground. Prior to Counting Coup, Taylor Sheridan's neo-Western drama TV show only had 3 episodes left to close out its story and conclude character arcs in a way that would satisfy us. Instead, Episode 12 did little to move the plot forward and contains a death that is unnecessary and quite disappointing. Following Sarah's shocking death in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 11, the police question Jamie in Episode 12. They don't consider him a suspect at first, but when he has a frantic and defensive reaction to the detectives looking at Sarah's belongings, they add him to their list of suspects. Elsewhere in the hour, Rip tries to sell as much livestock as he can as the ranch is in desperate need of money. Meanwhile, Case has a memorable storyline as he continues seeking justice for his father's murder, and one beloved ranch hand sacrifices his life to save another. In a strange turn of events, another Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 character dies in Episode 11, Colby. Carter gets stuck in a stable with a violent horse, and when Colby tries to distract the animal to save Carter, the horse attacks Colby, killing him. Carter tries to save the ranch hand by shooting the horse, but it's too late. Colby is already gone, devastating almost every character, especially Teeter, Colby's girlfriend, and Ryan, Colby's best friend. Despite the obvious heartbreak, Colby's passing isn't effective due to Part 2's previous deaths. It's also entirely unnecessary. When a TV show starts killing off characters left and right, the deaths become less impactful. John Dutton's fate in the Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 premiere was obviously powerful as it affected every character and the show's entire story. Then Sarah's death at the end of Episode 11 was completely shocking and seemingly changed the plot for the better. But both characters' deaths then cheapen Colby's. Colby's demise also does nothing to push the story forward, making it completely avoidable. It affects Teeter, of course, but Colby's death won't influence Yellowstone Season 5's arc. Aside from Colby's death and Case's actions at the end of the hour, Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 12 is hardly memorable. Counting Coup as a whole doesn't contain much development, meaning Taylor Sheridan is wasting precious time ahead of the show's series finale. Given that only 2 episodes remain in the neo-Western drama, it needs to efficiently utilize every second to the best of its ability. But Episode 12 seemingly negates that notion by featuring forgettable and meaningless scenes. Instead of continuing the war between Beth and Jamie, they are barely seen in the episode, even though they are arguably 2 of the most important characters in the show's final story. Counting Coup doesn't present a path forward for either of them after Sarah's death. As a result, their feud is losing steam, making us lose interest in seeing what happens next to Beth and Jamie. If there is one good thing about Counting Coup, it's Case. After being the reason why his father's case was reopened in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 11, Case continues on his warpath in Episode 12. His old military friend sends him information about Grant, the hitman Sarah hired to assassinate John, and Case tracks the man down. He jumps into the backseat of Grant's car, points a gun at his young daughter, and threatens Grant. Case leaves with no bloodshed, but he makes it very clear that he is not someone Grant wants to mess with. Case's dark side coming out at the end of Episode 12 is thrilling, to say the least. His character development in the second part of Season 5 has been quite intriguing to watch, and Case's scene with Grant will undoubtedly create excitement about what comes next for Luke Grimes' character. However, since Case essentially does nothing but traumatize two people in Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 12, the story surrounding John's death doesn't truly move forward. Yellowstone has always been a show about family, power, and the lengths people will go to protect what's theirs. It's a tale of sprawling landscapes and messy human connections, where the land is both a character and a battleground. But as we delve into the second half of Season 5, there's an undeniable sense that the show is teetering on its own edges. Episode 12, while brimming with drama, made one thing clear. The stakes have never been higher, yet the show's focus feels more scattered than ever. The episode opens with John Dutton, Kevin Costner, grappling with the fallout of his political career. As governor of Montana, John's ambitious plans to shield his beloved ranch from the ever-creeping claws of development are unraveling. The tension in the governor's office is palpable as opponents seize on his vulnerabilities, and the cracks in his family's united front become glaringly obvious. But just as the political intrigue begins to heat up, the episode takes a sharp and jarring detour: the death of a beloved secondary character. The death that didn't need to happen. In a shocking and, frankly, unnecessary twist, Ryan, Ian Bowen, meets his untimely demise. For a show that thrives on high-stakes drama, the death felt abrupt and disconnected from the larger narrative arcs. Ryan, a loyal bunkhouse regular and one of the ranch's steadfast cowboys, has never been a major player in the grander schemes of the Dutton family. However, his steady presence provided a sense of grounding amid the chaos of the Yellowstone ranch. The sequence leading to Ryan's death felt out of place. Sent to handle a routine dispute with a neighboring rancher over water rights, the situation escalates far beyond reason. What began as a tense standoff quickly spiraled into a violent confrontation, with Ryan taking a bullet during a hail of gunfire. The scene was well executed in terms of its cinematography. Every shot felt visceral, and the tension was palpable. But the decision to kill off Ryan left viewers questioning the purpose of such a move. Was this death meant to serve as a wake-up call for the Duttons? A reminder that even the most loyal are not immune to the dangers that come with protecting the ranch. If so, it failed to resonate. Instead, it felt like a cheap ploy to inject shock value into an episode already overloaded with subplots. Ryan's death didn't advance the story in any meaningful way. It simply distracted from the more pressing conflicts at hand. Beth and Jamie's eternal tug of war. One of the episode's stronger threads was the ever-escalating war between Beth, Kelly Riley, and Jamie, Wiz Bentley. Their sibling rivalry has always been a cornerstone of the show, and in episode 12, it reaches new heights. Beth, still seething over Jamie's betrayal and his attempt to impeach their father, confronts him in a brutal showdown at the Dutton Ranch. Riley's performance is nothing short of electric, with Beth's simmering rage spilling over into outright threats. Jamie, for his part, is no longer the cowed, insecure brother we met in earlier seasons. He stands his ground, even as Beth hurls accusations and venom his way. Their confrontation is a masterclass in tension, with both actors delivering powerhouse performances. However, this subplot is beginning to feel repetitive. How many times can Beth and Jamie circle the same drain? We've seen the threats, the blackmail, and the physical altercations before. While their dynamic remains compelling, it's time for the show to push their conflict in a new direction. Perhaps episode 12's final moments, which see Beth uncovering a devastating secret about Jamie, will finally force the narrative into uncharted territory. Rip and John's quiet connection. In contrast to the chaos elsewhere, the quieter moments between Rip Kohlhauser and John were a welcome reprieve. The two men share a deep bond, forged through years of loyalty and sacrifice, and episode 12 gives them a rare moment of reflection. Sitting by the fire after a long day, John opens up about his fears for the ranch's future. This land isn't just dirt and grass, he tells Rip. It's our blood, our history. But sometimes I wonder if all this fighting is worth it. Rip, ever the stoic cowboy, offers a simple yet profound response. It's worth it because it's yours, and no one else has the right to take it. This exchange underscores one of the show's central themes, the cost of legacy. John's internal struggle between preserving his family's heritage and the toll it takes on those around him is one of the most compelling aspects of Yellowstone. It's moments like these that remind viewers why they fell in love with the show in the first place.